So I just wanted to ask about what's going on with McLaren. As you can see, I've probably got a bit of skin in the game here as well. And as a former McLaren driver yourself, it's an interesting situation they find themselves in at the moment. Now, when we spoke a few months ago, you were saying that potentially they could challenge for the championship, the Constructors' Championship in 2025. But here they are after the Baku Grand Prix. They're in the lead of the championship. So what's your take on how they're doing and also how they're kind of managing the driver situation there?
Listen, I think they're a victim of their own success, and I think that's a situation that they've got to like relearn to a certain extent because, historically McLaren have had this issue before with two great drivers. Go back to the Prost and Senna days where they've had to, make some hard decisions and support in certain areas. But it's a really lovely position to be in because they know that they've got capability in both cars to win Grand Prix, and they know that they've got huge young talent there that's going to grow with them in the future. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big one. I think they will quickly understand, where they're at and what they're going to do to go forward. But the golden ticket is constructors, and for them to now be in a situation where they're at the front of it and can see, light at the end of the tunnel on that side, that will be a real big focal point for them. So, that's where the big money is as well. So that's what sort of the lead will be for them in terms of going forward on who does what, when, and where.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the constructors is where the big bucks are paid out at the end of the day. You're absolutely right with that. And right now they're in the lead by I think about 20 points or so. But they've also got two drivers that are still in this championship battle in a sense. They both have a chance of it. I mean, we heard going into Baku that Oscar was going to be told to help out Lando Norris, and it ended up being the other way around. Lando Norris actually helped out Oscar Piastri during that race because of where he qualified. And now there's been people saying they should get rid of these papaya rules, but let's swap you with Andrea Stella here. You're the team boss of McLaren now. What do you do?
Listen, I think you always have to understand what's going on track at that given moment and understand then what's going to be available in terms of results come the end of a Grand Prix distance. So it's a constant evolving picture. And I think, you might set out with good intentions before the event, but as I say, Grand Prix sometimes throws up something very different to what we planned. I really don't have any big thing with the guys in terms of, to an extent, I think it's nice to see them racing it out and having a possibility on both sides to go towards a championship. But they're going to have to make some decisions sooner rather than later on who's going to have the best, possibility of getting the deal done. And I think you'd probably have to lean towards Lando with that at the moment, just because a little bit more experience, a little bit more consistency across the board. And I think that's probably the focal point. And I think from Piastri, listen, I said from day one when he went in that he was a big talent, and you see a lot more coming out of him, and that's proven to be the case now. But he's got a huge amount of time on his hands, and both of them are still young. But I think, he's going to have to take maybe a little bit on the chin and be the team player and, let that one play out. And I'm sure his time will come in a very close future to where we're heading with 25 season as well, with the car stage where it is performance-wise.
Absolutely, yeah. Piastri's really shown himself to be an excellent talent, and that victory in Baku, the way he defended against Charles Leclerc, I think was masterful. I would never guess that he's like 22, 23 years old or whatever he is in his second season of Formula One. Absolutely incredible. But what are your predictions for the rest of the season, Mark? I mean, it's so hard to, kind of predict what's going to happen. Ferrari have been quite resurgent recently. Red Bull say they might have found what's causing them problems, but we're yet to see that much of a difference on track. What are you thinking for the constructors and the drivers come the end of the season in Abu Dhabi?
Well, I think from the point of view of having two solid drivers, knocking in results every Grand Prix, then McLaren look like they're in a really strong position relative to all the other teams. So I don't think that's going to change. I think that's going to still be the end result. I think they've got a great opportunity to win the World Championship on the constructor side. Drivers, I'm still going to put my, neck out and go that Max will still pull it off. And I think some of that might just be from consistency as opposed to outright wins. In saying that, there might be a couple of opportunities with tracks coming up towards the end of the season that suit the Red Bull more than others. So let's just see. Even with McLaren's performance, I'm not sure they'll be able to close the gap quite enough to get one of them to pull off the World Championship for the driver's side. So I'm kind of looking at sort of the outcome at the end of the season as sort of Max, Lando, Leclerc. That's sort of my top three for the drivers contentions.
It's a strange situation we find ourselves in Formula One when you're sticking your neck out when you're saying the guy that's leading by 60 points is going to hold on to the end, but we find ourselves there. And even stranger in a sense, Mark, a very interesting one is the fact that Adrian Newey has obviously been confirmed for Aston Martin now as their designer, their shareholder, someone on the board. I think that's a really exciting signing to see potentially shaking up the grid for 26.
Yeah, I think everyone sort of had a bit of a curveball with thinking he was going to be wearing a red shirt. So that was the early signs, and a lot of people were convinced that was going to happen. Very smart move by Aston Martin. They've done something, that is not the norm, putting the head design guy in as a shareholder and stakeholder in the business. But I think Newey warrants it. I think he is, as special as drivers, multi-world title, Verstappen's, Hamilton's, Alonso's. I think, from the perspective of a business, securing who you need to grow the business and get results, then, a key individual like Newey is a prime move, and I think they've done that. So investment wise, yeah, the number looks big from the outside, but actually, if the success comes in the way that they think it will, then that number will be, diluted quite quickly. And I don't think that will be sitting as a debt on the balance sheet. I think it'll be quite a positive profitability sort of, model. So yeah, very, very smart move, and great for British motorsport. Great that we haven't actually lost Newey to Ferrari. We've actually retained him in the UK with a British company, and a name that's sort of got huge heritage. So yeah, I think from the outside looking in, there's a huge amount of positives.
Absolutely. Say what you want about Lawrence Stroll, but when it comes to choosing drivers and choosing that designer, choosing to key people, that's made a massive difference. And that new facility at Silverstone, I am sure that he's going to extract everything he can from there. But yeah, no, thank you very much for your time, Mark. I really appreciate it.
All the best.
You too, mate. Take care.